Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Shalom, family. Good to see everyone. Hope you're doing well. Oh man, it is hot as I don't know what here. It is hot. And I think what make it worse is the humidity is higher than the temperature. So it is miserable out there. So anyway, it's summer. We're going to talk about Donald Trump did 2 executive orders on birthright citizenship. Now, he did this after losing in the Supreme Court, and he is still sticking to the 14th Amendment was strictly for the children and the offspring of slaves. It was not meant for everyone else. And he's also putting a stop to tourism, where these women come from China and Africa and all these different places to come here and have their baby so that their baby is a citizen here. Well, he did an executive order to end all of that. It is plain and clear. He's okay with it being for the descendants of slaves. He just don't like all these other people taking advantage of the 14th Amendment and, how the Democratic Party has used it for what it was never intended to be used for. So I told y'all he was not going to give up on this. He's not going to give up on this at all. So I had to do the video a different way because for some strange reason it would not fully download, but that's okay. I got a workaround. Hopefully this will be okay. All right. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Very unfortunate decision in the Supreme Court concerning birthright. It was close, but a very, very unfortunate decision. So we're making adjustments because it's very unfair. This was done for a different reason. This was done right after the Civil War. This was for the babies of slaves. And what's happening now, people are building businesses around it. From wealthy people are building businesses around birthright citizenship. That's not the way it's supposed to work. It's a disgrace. They're buying their way in, and we're not going to let it happen. So, Steve, if you will, please.
Yes, so today the president signed these 2 executive orders here relating to birthright citizenship and birth tourism. As the president mentioned, the 14th Amendment was passed exclusively in the aftermath of the Civil War so to ensure that the children of slaves would be citizens. It had no other meaning and purpose outside of that. And that's been clear, obviously, since the day that it was passed. You can go back, you can read the congressional debates. This is not something that's even seriously contested by anybody. The president is using his authority as commander-in-chief to sign first an executive order using the new ruling the Supreme Court issued to expand the definitions of people who are ineligible for birthright citizenship. That includes, for example, alien enemies of the United States, members of foreign terrorist organizations, and large categories of people who lobby and act on behalf of foreign governments. And so with taking this action, it ensures that large numbers of people who wrongly would be getting birthright citizenship will no longer be eligible for those benefits. The second action that he's taking, which is especially historic, is for the first time ever in American history to ban birth tourism. So I want you to really let that sink in. This has been something that people have talked about not only for years, but for decades. The idea that people come here pretending to be a tourist, pretending to be a visitor, saying they want to go to Disneyland, they want to go visit a monument or go to a national park. But the real reason they're here is to have a child, to make that child an automatic citizen, leave our country, and then have a U.S. citizen child. It gives them access under this broken system to welfare benefits, ultimately to the voting booth, and all the other rights and privileges that belong solely to Americans. So that practice of birth tourism is, as of the signing of this order, hereby banned.
Hundreds of thousands. You have one man came in with a family, said he had 56 children. Another one came in, they said they had 98 children. This was not what it was for. This was meant for the babies of slaves. It's happening now. People are building businesses around it. From wealthy people are building businesses around birthright citizenship. That's not the way it's supposed to work. It's a disgrace. They're buying their way in.
President Trump just signed 2 new executive orders Thursday targeting birthright citizenship and birth tourism. This comes after the Supreme Court struck down his earlier order in late June, ruling it violated the 14th Amendment. Trump called the decision very unfortunate and said he's making adjustments because the current system is unfair. For those wondering, birth tourism is when a pregnant woman travels to the U.S. specifically to give birth so her child gains automatic citizenship under the 14th Amendment. The new orders aim to limit automatic citizenship for children born in the U.S., especially targeting birth tourism. Now, supporters say it protects the integrity of citizenship, while critics argue it undermines a core constitutional right. If you didn't know, now you know. And knowing is half the battle. Love y'all. Be safe out there. Big Duke out. You ought to know. Thank me later.
President Trump is once again trying to curb birth tourism and birthright citizenship after his first attempt was struck down by the Supreme Court earlier this year. So today, President Trump announced 2 new executive orders. First, targets specific groups and makes them ineligible for birthright citizenship, which is granted citizenship to anyone that is born on American soil.
The president is using his authority as commander-in-chief to sign first an executive order using the new ruling the Supreme Court issued to expand the definitions of people who are ineligible for birthright citizenship. That includes, for example, alien enemies of the United States, members of foreign terrorist organizations, and large categories of people who lobby and act on behalf of foreign governments.
Last year, President Trump signed an executive order attempting to limit birthright citizenship, but the Supreme Court struck that down in June, citing the 14th Amendment.
We had a very unfortunate decision in the Supreme Court concerning birthright. It was close, but a very, very unfortunate decision. So we're making adjustments because it's very unfair.
Now, the second executive order bans birth tourism, but there's already a U.S. law in place that bans people from getting a visa for the sole purpose of getting citizenship for children by giving birth in the United States. And it's not immediately clear what this executive order does beyond that.
The idea that people come here, pretend to be a tourist, pretend to be a visitor, saying they want to go to Disneyland, they want to go visit a monument or go to a national park. But the real reason they're here is to have a child, to make that child an automatic citizen, leave our country, and then have a U.S. citizen child. It gives them access under this broken system to welfare benefits, ultimately to the voting booth, and all the other rights and privileges that belong solely to Americans. So that practice of birth tourism is, as of the signing of this order, hereby banned. And what that means is that no one in the world is any more allowed to obtain a visa for this fraudulent purpose.
President Trump just signed new executive orders focusing on birthright citizenship and ending birth tourism. Here's what they do. So first, The order identifies categories of children born in the United States to certain non citizen parents who the administration says are not entitled to birthright citizenship under historical exceptions. It argues were recognized by the Supreme Court. Second, the order directs the Secretary of State and Secretary of Homeland Security to take steps aimed to stopping birth tourism, the practice of people traveling to the U.S. to give birth with the goal of obtaining citizenship for their children. The administration says the orders are meant to protect the value of America's citizenship and the rights and responsibilities that come with it. These announcements also highlights broader immigration actions taken by the administration, including increased immigration enforcement, changes to visa screening efforts targeting fraudulently obtained citizenship, and changes to immigration related programs. But yeah, let me know what you think about this new executive order targeting birthright citizenship and ending birth tourism, because birth tourism is $1 billion industry.
This time, President Trump wants to change who is eligible for automatic U.S. citizenship at birth and crack down on so-called birth tourism, which includes denying visas to some pregnant women who want to visit the U.S.
President Trump said his administration has to make adjustments after the Supreme Court struck down his executive order to restrict birthright citizenship in June.
Unfortunately, we had a bad decision, very unfair decision. Our country suffers because of it, and we're ending it a different way.
In a 6-3 ruling, the justices preserved the promise that all babies born in the U.S. are automatically American citizens, regardless of the parents' immigration status. Now, Trump wants to restrict birthright citizenship for certain categories of people, including children of a foreign government employee like ambassadors and people employed by a foreign government, children of anyone considered an alien enemy of the U.S., and babies of foreign nationals on a visa for the purpose of giving birth on American soil, known as birth tourism. Trump was asked how many people use it.
Hundreds of thousands, okay? Hundreds of thousands.
The Migration Policy Institute found, according to the latest numbers from the CDC, in 2024, there were 9,600 births to mothers with a foreign residence. The most expansive census-based estimate is between 22 and 26,000 babies a year. Some legal experts are already questioning whether these orders will hold up to court challenges.
You cannot executive order your way out of the Constitution. It says if you're born in this country and subject to the jurisdiction of this country, we do not look at the status of your parents, how they came here, or even if they violated immigration law in order to come to this country.
Democrats are pushing back against these new executive orders. In a statement, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said, quote, "If you are born in America, you are American, period." The Constitution says it, and the Supreme Court has affirmed it.
Donald Trump just signed 2 new pairs of executive orders targeting birthright citizenship. Yes, even after the Supreme Court already struck down his broader attempts to restrict it. And this time, the Trump administration is trying a narrower approach. The first order seeks to deny automatic citizenship to babies born under several different circumstances, including children of certain foreign diplomatic employees, people classified as alien enemies, mothers accused of deceptively entering the United States to have a baby. The last category is known as birth tourism, where someone allegedly travels to America for the primary reason to have a baby to only get citizenship. The second order directs the State Department and Homeland Security together to create new rules targeting birth tourism businesses both in and outside of the United States. But let me tell you where it's about to get extremely controversial. The 14th Amendment literally says nearly everyone born in the United States is an American citizen. The Supreme Court already struck down Trump's previous attempt to deny citizenship to babies born to undocumented parents or temporary status parents in the United States. Trump's administration argues that these new restrictions already fall within already recognized exceptions. Now, clearly, this is just Trump's attempt to rewrite the Constitution through executive power. I mean, we all know what he's trying to do. He's trying to go around, again, the Supreme Court and the Constitution that he very well has to follow as well. So I'll keep you guys up to date with what's going to happen next. But now he has signed these two new executive orders targeting birthright citizenship. Once again, follow along for more.
President Trump signing two executive orders aimed at narrowing access to birthright citizenship after the U.S. Supreme Court effectively knocked down President Trump's attempts to end birthright citizenship. One of the orders would end birth tourism. Effectively, the president, you heard describe it, there are people who come to this country under the guise of traveling and then have a child here. That's how you heard the president and his top officials there describe it. Of course, the big question, will these two executive orders be immediately open to legal challenges? Will they stand the legal test? Worth noting that the president said, well, the United States is the only country that has birthright citizenship. In fact, 32 other countries have birthright citizenship.
That's right, Kristen. And right before the president started speaking, I got some new details from the White House specifically on these executive orders. They're going to be for only future births tied to four categories: children born to foreign diplomatic staff working on behalf of another government while in the U.S. There's also going to be children of people who are classified as alien enemies, including those who belong to federally declared terrorist groups. There's also those born in the U.S. territories, but only, he writes, if Congress changes the law to end automatic citizenship there. Think Puerto Rico and other places. Also, children born of mothers who expressly and deceptively, the president says, enter the U.S. for the sole purpose of having children here.
All right, y'all. Yeah, well, it looks like he's still trying to push this birthright citizenship. But, you know, judging from everything we had to put up with from these foreigners and how nasty they are and come from third world countries and think we're beneath them, which I can't figure that one out to save my life. You know, a lot of people would be happy that he's doing this and putting these restrictions down. No, I absolutely don't think someone should come here, drop a baby, and all of a sudden it's citizenship. You know, if you're going to do it, don't be deceptive about the whole thing. That's all I'm saying. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if this may actually be challenged in court. So we'll see how far he gets with these two executive orders, y'all. I tell you, this is crazy. Slim Goody 45, thank you for the 1,000 Jules. Guitar, thank you so much for your support from my channel. Thank you. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to pick up your hair products. And I'll see you on my next live. I'm still working on a few things. And I have to get a few more orders out today. But I should be able to do my live streams nevertheless. So y'all have a wonderful afternoon. If you're in a heat wave, stay cool. Shalom, family.